Let me ask you something. If you were to take 10 trades and lose 6 of them, would your account still survive? Because most traders would be done for. Not because their strategy sucks, but simply because their risk management sucks. You see, everybody's talking about setups, entries, liquidities, indicators, but nobody's talking about that one thing that's actually gonna keep you in the game. But I'm not here to blame you. I personally used to enter about whatever felt right. 3%, 5%, 10%. But again, I used to blow it all in one trade. Then I learned the 1% rule, which changed everything. This video is going to show you how you can protect your capital, stay consistent, and scale, even if your win rate isn't perfect. Okay, so now I'm sharing my iPad and you can see in front of you what I need you to understand in order to be in the same mindset as me, in order for you to make a lot more money by risking a lot less. The problem that most of us have is that we think that we should directly go ahead and make a lot of money in trading, which is not the case. But the beauty of it is if you're able to stack consistent profits along the way, well then the compound effect is going to be so quick, so fast, because it's almost going to be doubling. One account becomes 2, so $1,000 become $2,000. Then you get 4 accounts, $2,000 become $4,000. Yet we still think that we need to extract $200,000 from one account, which is not necessarily the case. You don't have to go through doing all of this in order to get started. So we're going to go ahead and get started. In part 1 over here, as you can see, I'm going to tell you why risk management comes first. Because your win rate doesn't matter if your risk management is trash. And this is the reality. If you can't know how much you're really risking and you don't really know your numbers, how much is your tolerance, how much is your risk, how much is your reward? Are you extending your stop losses? Are you extending your take profits? Are you a disciplined person? Are you not a disciplined person? And these all come into play. But what if I could tell you that you could be right only 3 out of 10 times and still grow an account? Now, you're going to tell me, what do you mean by that? I'm going to show you exactly, which is why I have this space over here to explain for you. Let's say you take 3 wins, and each of these wins with a risk to reward of at least 1 to 3. This means for every 3 losses, you need 1 win to make up for these 3 losses, right? So let's say you take 3 trades, all go to a 3. Now that's 9% gain if you're risking 1% across every single trade around your whole portfolio. So risking 1%, making 9%, and now you have 3 trades, right? You still have 7 trades. If you were to go ahead and lose all of these 7 trades in the negative, then you would end up with negative 7% plus 9%, which is 2%. Now, that might not seem like a lot, but 2% off a $200,000 account, well, that is good money. If you think about it, 1% of a $100,000 account is $1,000. So off a $200,000 account, 1% is $2,000. But you went ahead and made 2%, which means $4,000. Now, across the whole month, $4,000 times 4 is equal to $16,000 per month. Yet, you only were able to win 3 out of 10 trades, and you lost 7 trades along the way. This shows you that it's okay to be wrong in trading, and you're most likely going to be wrong. But if you have that one edge and you have that strategy, then you can act around that strategy. I mean, why not, So, why is because if you keep the risk small and let the winners run, math is on your side. This is how it goes. Because risk management is your seatbelt. It doesn't stop the crash, but it saves your life when it happens. Now that we're on part 2, I want you to know the 1% rule. And this is what changed my entire trading. I have no kind of emotions. I'm not hopeful when I'm in a trade. I don't really feel anything when I'm in the trade. I take my time with my analysis because, this ends up showing me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, when I'm in a trade, nothing is in my control. So just let it go and trust yourself, build your confidence, and the more you do it, the more you can see the patterns, and the more you feel like you're okay with risking that amount. Now, what does that 1% rule say? It says, never risk more than 1% of your total account per trade. So if it's a $1,000 account, then only risk $10. But if it's a $10,000 account, then you only risk $100. That is it. I don't want to kind of make it overcomplicated for you because it really isn't. If you think about it, if you can make $100 of $1,000, then you can clearly make $10,000 of $100,000. And the reality is that $100,000 account cost you $497. So if you invest $497 in yourself to get a $100,000 account, well then if you make 1% of that, that's already $1,000. So you already are in the positive for your investment. This is how simple it is. Now, notice I said simple, not easy, is because simple means that you have the path. Easy means it's easy to do it. It's not easy to do it. You have to find your strategy, find your edge, and act upon that edge alone. But in order to do that, you have to have strong discipline. That means $10, not more. That means $100, not more. If you have a $10,000 account, 100, 1,000, $10. Now, if you have a $100,000 account, well then that means $1,000, and so on and so forth. This is why in trading you have to understand that it's all about a percentage game, not a numbers game at all. Because at the end of the day, no matter the account, you can make 2% per week, and that is you being extremely safe. And I just showed you before what that 2% can actually get you to. And that is only having a 200K account getting 16K per month. But could you imagine if this 200K account, from that 16K, you take out only another 1K and you get another 200K account? That alone means that 16K has doubled. It means you are now making $32,000 of two $200,000 accounts. And I mean, why not? You know, then you can get 3 accounts, 4 accounts, 5 accounts, and it doesn't stop. So to be honest, the upside has unlimited potential. But if you can only focus on what you're risking, not be emotional in a trade, focus on what you really have to do, that is all that you need. So if you lose the 3 trades, you're down 3%, like I explained before. But if you win 1 trade with a 1 to 3 risk to reward, you're back to break even, or actually maybe even up. It's not about being perfect, it's about staying alive. If you can guarantee yourself to stay in the game, only risking 1% per trade, it's nearly impossible for you to breach the account in 1 day or in 1 week or in whatever the case may be. Because at the end of the day, you need a 5% drawdown to get your account breached. But for you to get a 5% drawdown, you have to lose 5 back-to-back trades. Back to back. And if you only win 1 trade, well then you need another 3 losses to go back to breaching your account. So could you imagine how much leverage you have, how much space you have, how much comfort you have if you only risk accordingly? Now we're going to move on to part 3. Part 3 is rather small, but it's very, very important. It's like I'm telling you that a very small part of information is going to be very beneficial. So you gotta thank God for this one, because imagine if I were to tell you a very long part was to be the most important one. No. Lot size and calculation. You have to know where you are with your numbers in order to be a profitable trader. And this is how the pros do it. And this is how I do it. You have to know your stop loss in pips. You also have to know the pip value of your pair. And you also have to get a position size calculator, which you can get for free online. I'm not telling you to go buy anything. You can literally go on your phone, write position size calculator free. Knowing your stop loss in pips means you have to know how far your stop loss is in pips to know where you can have your stop loss be, depending on how many pips you want, depending on the percentages that you're risking. Now, if you risk 10 pips using 10 lots on Euro USD, that means you're risking $1,000. But if you're risking, if $1 on XAU USD, for example, is also 10 pips. Now you might say, how is that? Because simply different pip values for different pairs. And that means $1 on XAU USD cannot be the same $1 on Euro USD. And that simply is because Euro USD literally standing right now at 1.35012. That is Euro USD. So $1 of that will get us to 2.35012, which doesn't make any sense. So there's the ruler on TradingView. It's a button. You click on the ruler, you tap and you drag, and then that will show you the pip size or the pip range or the distance between where you want to be and where you are, where your stop loss is.
So if you're able to do this, then you know your stop loss in pips, you know the pip value of your pair, and you can use a position size calculator to tell that position size calculator that, okay, my account is at $200,000, right? Let's say that account is at $200,000. They'll ask you how much your stop loss is, how many pips. You would say 10 pips. You also have to say the percentage that you want to risk. So they'll ask you risk percentage, and you would say 1%. Now they're gonna tell you what pair is this, and on that pair you would click, let's say, Euro USD. Now what they are gonna tell you is, okay, you have $200,000 account, and you want to risk 10 pips, and you want to risk 1%, cool. Then you can go ahead and do 20 lots. This is the size that you're going to enter. That means you're risking $2,000 of the 200K account, which is 1%. So you get this straight, you get this straight, and you get this straight. But please, never, ever guess. Don't be like, all right, I'll have a rough kind of guess about how it's gonna be. No, because trading isn't about feel, it's about structure only. Okay, so for part 4, you have to really understand that funded accounts and risk discipline are two independent entities, but if you can merge them together in the right way, you can make a lot of money. Now, when I started getting funded, this rule became non-negotiable. I told myself I'm never ever going to risk more than 1%. Never, ever, ever. That is the only risk that I'm doing until at least I start withdrawing a lot of money, okay? I don't want you to start thinking about the 10K payouts, the 20K payouts, because you don't need that in the beginning. You have to understand, what do you really need? I have a student that was telling me that he started paying his phone bills, right? And then I have another student telling me that he started paying his phone bills and his car payments. And then I have another student telling me that he had his phone bills, his car payment, and he's about to make his rent for this month. So all these mean that you have to understand that you have to make enough money that would satisfy you. For example, let's say for me, I have expenses of like 40, 50K in a month. Well, then I know my risk tolerance and I know how much I have to achieve. If you're able to do something that you love and you understand that you cannot risk more than you should and then still make a lot of money, well, then why don't we do that? Why do we want to focus on making literally 200K out of the door right away? You cannot do this, and you're gonna be burning a lot of bridges along the way if that is the only goal that you have. I want you to focus on building consistent small profits in increments, where the first month you started making maybe 3K, maybe the second month you started making 4K, and then you start making maybe 8K, and then you go to 10K, and then you scale. It's simply not fair for you to kind of attack yourself of why you're not making 20K a month, because the people that are making 20K a month have also passed through these ones. Now, when I say the first month, I don't mean when you start trading, the first month you're gonna make 3K. I mean the first month of you being profitable. That means you have to go through the losing phase. You have to understand the strategy. You have to find your edge. You have to be disciplined. You have to do all of these things on the list, which, by the way, very, very possible in less than 6 months. Very, very, very completely possible. And I'm not sure why you don't do it, you know? So when I started getting funded, like I said, this rule became non-negotiable. I told myself this is something that I'm never, ever, ever going to breach, which is my own discipline. And if you can conquer yourself, you can conquer the whole world. So prop firms really don't care how good your entries are. I'm not even kidding. They care how well you manage your risk. The better I got at protecting capital, the faster I scaled. And this is it for part 4. This should show you that if you can merge these two together, you can make a lot of money. A lot. Now, if you can also really understand that there's the non-negotiable rule, you can also understand that prop firms don't really care about how your entries are, and you can also focus on managing your risk, then you get better at protecting your capital, you're gonna scale a lot faster. And now you have me. So if I'm telling you about a mistake, just please don't go ahead and do it on your own. I'm telling you that this is a mistake. Just don't go ahead and do it. Now, I have some final words for you guys, and I want you to take these ones kind of to the heart, okay? Okay, final words, okay? Now that you know how to manage risk like a pro, I literally gave you the blueprint about what you should do and about what you should not do. And if you can differentiate between both, and if you could only focus and double down on what really works and kind of forget about what doesn't work, you're gonna make a lot of money through trading if you give it the time, and if you understand that it's a process, and if you understand that it already takes time, but you have to start somewhere. So go through the losing phase, maybe stick to one mentor, maybe kind of start having your discipline, start journaling. You have to kind of start having this mindset for you to be where you want to be, because there's two things. One thing is where you are, and the second thing is where you want to be. The only gap in between is you doing the thing. So if you can't do the thing, then you're not going to get to where you want to be. Now, what does that mean? If I gave you the blueprint about what you should do to manage your risk like a pro, let's fix the next thing that's ruining your trades. You're entering too early. No confirmation, no closure, just emotion. I mean, we spoke about this. You're entering too early, we made a video about this. No confirmation, we made a video about this. No closure, we made a video about this. And emotion, we're talking about it right now. I don't want you, no, I mean, of course, you're not a robot. You can feel happy when you win a trade. You can feel sad when you lose a trade. But I don't want you to feel anything to take a trade. Not at all. Now, the issue is that now we have this out of the way. No closure, we talked about this. Remember the other video that I did where you have to have the body closure over the wick. That is extra confirmation. No confirmation, that means if you did not wait for a break of structure, or if you did not wait for a rejection, but you simply are entering because of instinct, because you feel that something is going to happen, this we have to eliminate, okay? That is the last thing that I'm going to say for this video. I hope you like this one, and I really am rooting for you from afar, but I think anyone could do this. I think it's not out of reach for anyone. You could start with as little as $100 and get a 50K funded account, or whatever the case may be. If you believe that you can make this, I know a lot of people believe that they can make this. All I ask from you is just give it time. And that is all that I have to say for this video. Comment below any other topics that you want me to discuss. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one.